Good morning, welcome to Wembley, and this is what it's all about today, the draw for the 2011 Betfred.com World Snooker Championship. And as I said, we're here at Wembley, the venue for some of the biggest sporting occasions in the world, and also some incredible concerts, but we're not going outside, we're inside today, and I wonder who will lift this Betfred World Championship trophy on May the 2nd and collect a cheque for £250,000. Well, we're going to do the draw, and I'm pleased to say the two gentlemen are doing it. Mark Pearson, head of media for Betfred, and of course Barry Hearn, who's head of World Snooker. You've got the 16 top-rated players in the world. You've got the 16 qualifiers who are going to play them. Mark, before we start, what's the latest betting?
It looks wide open. It's 5-2 on the field. John Higgins is a favourite. He's been outstanding since his return. Ronnie O'Sullivan 13-2. But 8 previous champions in the draw, Derek. 8 previous champions.
And I believe ticket sales have gone through the roof.
It's been a fantastic year for snooker, Tomo. You know, we've had more events, different formats, but this, the Betfred World Championships, this is the big one. All these boys can play. OK, well, they'll all be watching. Good luck, guys. OK, you're going to draw the first one. You've got the 16 highest rated against the qualifiers. Here we go.
Number 14.
Number 14 is Jamie Cope, young talent who's reached 2 ranking finals, and he's in the top 16 for the first time.
Number 32.
He will play Andrew Paget, set for his Crucible debut. This young Welshman practices with Mark Williams.
Number 5.
Number 5 is Ding Junhui, the current Masters champion and twice UK champion, though yet to shine at Sheffield.
Number 29.
He will play Jamie Burnett, got to the final of the Shanghai Masters this season and made a record break of 148 in 2004.
Number 2.
John Higgins, the current world number 1, 3 times world champion, last won it in 2009. Who will John Higgins play?
Number 21.
Stephen Lee, a winner of 4 ranking events and got to the world semi-finals in 2003.
Number 1.
Neil Robertson, the reigning Betfred.com world champion, the Aussie who beat Graham Dott in last year's Crucible final. Who will Neil Robertson play this year?
Number 22.
Judd Trump, one of snooker's most gifted young talents, won the Paul Hunter Classic this season.
Number 11.
Number 11 is Mark Allen, reached the semi-finals at the Crucible in 2009 and the quarters last year.
Number 18.
We'll play Matthew Stevens, World Championship runner-up in 2000 and 2005 and a former UK and Masters champion.
Number 15.
Number 15, Ricky Walden beat Ronnie O'Sullivan to win the 2008 Shanghai Masters, but is yet to win a match at the Crucible.
Number 28.
He will play Rory McLeod, made his Crucible debut in 2009. He coaches the Qatar national team.
Number 3.
Number 3, Mark Williams, ranked 2nd in the world and twice world champion in 2000 and 2003. Who will Mark Williams play in the first round?
Number 20.
Ryan Day, the only player to make 3 centuries on his Crucible debut, twice reached the quarterfinals.
Number 6.
Number 6 is Stephen Maguire, a winner of 4 ranking events and reached the world semi-finals in 2007.
Number 23.
He will play Barry Hawkins, has made it through to the Crucible for the 6th successive year.
Number 10.
Number 10, Ronnie O'Sullivan, the Rocket, snooker's most exciting talent and world champion 3 times. Who will Ronnie O'Sullivan play?
Number 26.
Dominic Dale beat John Higgins to win the Grand Prix in 2007 and added the Shanghai Masters title 10 years later.
Number 7.
Number 7, Shaun Murphy, conquered the world in 2005, becoming the 2nd youngest Crucible champion.
Number 27.
We'll play Marcus Campbell, showing the best form of his career and once beat Stephen Hendry 9-0 in the UK Championship.
Number 9.
Number 9, Graham Dott, world champion in 2006 and runner-up in 2004 and again last year.
Number 19.
We'll play Mark King, one of snooker's toughest competitors, who has twice reached the final of a ranking event.
Number 13.
Number 13, Stephen Hendry, the legend, 7 times world champion and made memorable 147 2 years ago.
Number 25.
He will play Joe Perry, reached the semi-finals at Sheffield in 2008, a former European Open finalist.
Number 8.
Number 8, Alistair Carter reached the final at Sheffield in 2008 and has since won 2 ranking events.
Number 30.
He will play Dave Harold, a former Asian Open champion who has reached 2 other ranking finals.
Number 12.
Number 12 is Peter Ebdon. He beat Stephen Hendry in the epic 2002 World Final, runner-up in 1996 and 2006.
Number 17.
He will play Stuart Bingham. On the verge of a place in the top 16, shocked Stephen Hendry on his Crucible debut in 2000.
Number 4.
Number 4, Mark Selby reached the final of the Crucible in 2007, 2-time Masters champion.
Number 31.
He will play Jimmy Robertson, ready for his Crucible debut, a promising 24-year-old from Sussex.
And number 16.
Number 16, Marco Fu, Hong Kong's finest, won the Grand Prix in 2007, reached the final of the Masters this year.
Number 24.
Will play Martin Gould, a dangerous young potter who came so close to beating eventual champion Neil Robertson last year. Wow, that was... Now, come on, early reaction to that, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's a great draw, isn't it? Judd Trump, young talent versus a reigning champion, Neil Robertson. That's a standout tie for me, but still looks wide open. It's going to be, there's no gimmies in this first round.
And what's the betting at the moment?
Still 5-1 John Higgins, 13-2 for Ronnie O'Sullivan, and 13-2 for Neil Robertson.
What are your thoughts, Chairman?
First thought is, tough match for Higgins.
Yeah.
Stephen Lee's playing out of his skin. I mean, I'm biased, obviously, Tomo, because Stephen Lee beat Steve Davis quite comfortably in the qualifiers. My old mate is not a Sheffield other than behind the microphone.
Yeah.
That's a very tough first round. The one that catches my eye, though, I think the funniest game of the lot, because who knows what's going to happen, Ronnie O'Sullivan. What type of Ronnie turns up at the Crucible, we don't know, and he's playing Daft Dominic Dale, one of the great characters of snooker, who can do almost anything on his day. They call him the Spaceman because he's from another world.
Who would you back to win that first round?
I go for Stephen Lee to beat John Higgins. I think an outsider, first big shock in the Crucible.
First big shock?
I think John Higgins has got a tough game. I think Neil Robertson's got a tough game as well. And, well, there's no gimmies, is there, in this
Not
first
like
round?
you sitting on the fence, mate. Someone would think you're representing a bookmaker.
And
well, it's 5-1 the field.
.com, that's the place to be. I tell you what, let's welcome a former champion. Let's get an initial reaction. And it is Peter Ebdon. Peter, come and join us. You know what it's like to have lifted this trophy. Yes. This is what it's all about, isn't it?
Absolutely. This is what you work hard for.
And yes, now how's it going? I know you're working hard, you're practising hard.
Yeah, we got to China and then obviously the World Championship, and I would say I've probably been doing no more than ticking over this season, but hopefully I can get myself spot on for Sheffield. I tend to try to leave a little bit to work on.
How much does experience count at the Crucible?
I think it counts an awful lot, but you know, there really is so much pressure, and this is the most important tournament of the whole season. All of the top players, everybody wants to get themselves really up for it. There really are no certainties, and there's some very, very tough matches this year, as there always is.
Well, how have you drawn in the first round? What are your thoughts?
I play Stuart Bingham, very, very tough player, and he's in a similar position to me in the rankings, and I would probably need to beat him at Sheffield to stay in front of him. So it is in my hands, and it's up to me. But he's a very, very good player, and I'm delighted that Stuart's got himself into the top 16 provisionally for the first time, because he's a really nice lad.
Who are the top 3 to beat? Who are the 3 guys that you think could go all the way? Well, the 2 guys, obviously. Who pick 3 for us?
I practised at the academy at Sheffield last year, and I honestly thought Ding Junhui would win the World Championship last year. He's one of the greatest talents I've ever seen. I've been playing for 25 years now. I think it's only a matter of time before he wins the World Championship, and if he turns up, I honestly think he's the person to beat this year.
What price is he, by the way?
10-1 for Ding.
10-1.
Current Masters champion, and there's been quite a lot of money for Ding so far as well.
OK, and what about the reigning champion?
John Higgins is all before him this year, taken all before him. Neil Robertson would probably have the most outstanding chance of following up for the first time. No first-time winner at the Crucible has ever followed up the following year. But Neil Robertson would probably have as good a chance as anyone before him. He's a great player, really nice lad, and obviously John Higgins, although he's got a very tough match against Stephen Lee, he's been practically unbeatable this season. But if you ask me to put a pound on who I thought would win, I think Ding will take the beating this year.
And one final question for you, Mr. Chairman. The great scenes of you and Steve Davis all those years ago. You made, you know, I know you don't get involved now, but who would be the one guy that you think against all that?
I'm backing Ronnie O'Sullivan. I'm not backing him because we're not allowed to bet. But my tip would be, I think Ronnie locks himself away 3 weeks before the World Championships, and I think you see a Ronnie of yesteryear.
And if the real Ronnie turns up, what price?
He's a big price, 13-2. Go back 2 years ago, he was 9-4.
Goodness me, so that could be interesting. Well, there you have it. This is what it's all about, the cheque for $250,000. And I wonder, the first name on this was Joe Davis back in 1925. I wonder whose name will be on this come May the 2nd at the Crucible in Sheffield. That's the news from Wembley. Now let's get a full recap on the full draw for the Betfred.com World Snooker Championship.
Thanks very much to Tomo there. The Betfred.com World Snooker Championship, the top half of the draw, best of 19 frames. Neil Robertson against Judd Trump. That's an exciting match to start off with. Marco Fuhr against Martin Gould. Graham Dott up against Mark King. Ali Carter plays Dave Harold. Ding Junhui up against Jamie Burnett. Peter Ebdon against Stuart Bingham. We just saw Peter in the studio there. Stephen Hendry up against Joe Perry. And Mark Selby plays Jimmy Robertson. 16th of April to the 2nd of May live on the BBC. It's the top half of the draw. Bottom half, Mark Williams up against Ryan Day. Jamie Cope against Andrew Paget. Mark Allen plays Matthew Stevens. Stephen Maguire up against Barry Hawkins. Sean Murphy plays Marcus Campbell. Ronnie O'Sullivan, the Rocket, up against Dominic Dale. Ricky Walden up against Rory McLeod. And John Higgins plays Stephen Lee. Just to recap, 16th of April through to the 2nd of May for the Betfred.com World Snooker Championship. And it's live on the BBC.
Hi guys, this is Tomo. We're live at Wembley. We've just done the draw for the final of the Betfred.com World Snooker Championship. And here's a man who'd love to lift this trophy, and Ali Carter, £250,000 first prize.
Yeah, that would be nice.
It would. Now tell us about your draw in the first round.
I've drawn Dave Harold, very tough player. Going to be a tough match for me, but you know, I'll work hard and I'll look forward to the match.
When you say you work hard, how much practicing can you do? Because some people can under practice, some can over practice.
Yeah, for me, working hard's probably about 3 hours a day tops. I can't. The days of doing 7 or 8 hours for me are over. I think it's hard to find enthusiasm for it. But yeah, if I do 3 hours a day, good practice, you know, get in the gym a little bit and try and get my fitness up, you know, and live a clean life till then, I think that's enough for me.
Talking of living a clean life, Rocket Ronnie is the interesting character here. He's round about the 13-2 mark, which on his old form would be tremendous value.
Yeah, I mean, Ronnie. What can you say about Ronnie, really? You know, he's probably, if he turns up and he's the right Ronnie, he's got to be favourite. But he hasn't played a lot this season. Whether that is gonna come into play, I don't know. So I don't know whether he's going to play in the China event before the World Championships or he's going to stay at home and get practicing hard. So, but that's probably up to him, isn't it?
Who is the man that you've got to beat? You've been through the final before. Who's the man you've got to beat?
Well, I suppose for me, I'm in a different half to Mark Williams, Ronnie and John Higgins. So I see one of those three getting to the final. So if I can get to the final, it's got to be one of those three, really. And
just one final question. How much does experience, you know, you've got to the final, you know what it's like on that big stage. How much does experience count? Or could one of the youngsters really spring a surprise?
I think it's going to be tough for one of the youngsters, to be honest with you. I'm not saying that they couldn't. I don't play well enough to do it, but it certainly took me 3 or 4 years to start feeling comfortable playing at the Crucible and get myself through to the later stages like the semis and the finals where I've been before now.
Can you win it?
I hope so.
I know you do. Well, there it is. He did enough to lift this trophy on May the 2nd, and this is it, the Betfred.com World Snooker Championship 2011.